Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Hello there, welcome to another edition of your number one business show on television, that is Money Radio. And it's a pleasure to be hosting you on today's program. Today, May 22nd, 2023. My name is Winifred Gbebo, and as you can see with me in the studio is an in-house analyst. He's also the editor of National Economy. Kingsley Alice is there. Kingsley, thank you so much. You're welcome. We are going to be reviewing and discussing front page news and inside pages as well of our business paper, National Economy. National Economy is leading with the story. Which other papers incidentally are leading with today? Talking about Dangote's $19 billion refinery. This is cheering news.
Yeah.
It is, right? And as we speak, it's undergoing commissioning by President Muhammadu Buhari and seven other, although some papers reported five, while some said six other presidents today in Lagos. So let's start with what the national economy is saying on the issue. $19 billion Dangote refinery. Nigeria's local refining comes alive again. $19 billion Dangote refinery. Nigeria's local refining comes alive again. Refinery will save country $9 billion annually, according to experts. And of course, we have the picture of the refinery on the cover of National Economy, and the insert we have Aliko Dangote, Nigeria's Africa's richest man. I'll take that again. Nigeria's local refinery comes alive again. Refinery will save country $9 billion annually. Kingsley, this is cherry news.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It
As
is.
you can see, you can see that my face has brightened up over this issue, and that's how I've been this morning.
Yes.
When the news broke.
Yeah, for one, we enjoy cleaner fuel. You know, most important fuel in the country, like what country they import into the country doesn't meet.
Adulterated, like what we
Yeah,
faced
adulterated,
February last year.
The sulfur content is so
2022.
yes, the sulfur content is so very very high. So this leads to corroding and all these dangerous emissions from vehicles. So for one at least, we enjoy cleaner fuel and also
And other essentials, talking about petrochemicals.
petrochemicals. There will be because and the beauty of it all is 650,000 barrels per day, and you also look at it means that the refinery is also able to meet 100%
Of Nigeria's
domestic use. 100%. Be it kerosene, be it your diesel, be it aviation fuel. It's able to meet all these, and even surplus that will also be exported. So I think we are in for a good time.
We are in for a good time. I
Yeah.
love that. We are in for a good time. And that is what we are is going to play out at the end of the day. Now, Dangote Refinery is coming at a time that Nigeria federal government was mooting subsidy removal. So how does it flow? Because I had a guest who said that no, that it doesn't correspond. And of course, he tried to explain that it's actually we are paying more for fuel because of due to international rate, and that Dangote is also still going to sell.
Yes, because if you
international
look at the location, it's as this free trade zone.
Yes.
That's an international zone. So it's going to operate, based on that standard. Market forces that operate within the international market also apply to Dangote Refinery. Like I said, it doesn't mean that the price of fuel will come down. What it simply means that one queues will disappear. Because if the people spend long hours on queues,
Yes.
due to bottlenecks in the sector.
Yes.
So what the refinery will do, obviously, is to debottleneck that sector. If you get to all these queues will disappear. You no longer will you have cases of you go stand longer hours on queues that you want to get fuel. And that said, by the time in 2024, DUA, Abdul Samad Review, his own refinery comes on stream.
That is next year.
That's next year. We are going to, even Dangote, what very present did today was to commission it, but it's still a work in progress because it will fully come on stream by 2024.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it doesn't mean that it has fully started work, but it's good that Mr. President also decided at least he has been on the project and as a parting, at least as
As a parting gift.
at least he feels he also deserves at least to be part and parcel of every, because if he leaves now another person will commission it. The incoming president will commission it. So he wants to, yes, he wants to commission it just before he leaves. So
the fact that he was part of it.
He has been part, yes, he's been part of the process, for the past 8 years they have been on it, okay? So it is good, I think, that it was commissioned today. It also demonstrates the readiness of the refinery, to commence operations very soon. Because for you to commission something, most times anyway, in other advanced climes, you commission completed projects. But even though it is not fully completed, what it simply means that work can move at a very advanced stage. So it's as good as saying it is almost 80% completed.
Wow.
So by 2024, hopefully, it comes fully on stream. At the same time, BUA will also be coming on stream.
Okay.
So you can get to see that now, apart from the healthy competition that it will engender, you get to also see that there's also possibility that other investors may also start coming into the sector, because now it has opened up, And then, what more again? You see, if you look at crude oil export now, will drastically fall, because this crude oil now, they'll be moving them to Dangote Refinery. So no longer will you be exporting crude, and now it will be for domestic use, basically. So
it's only the international market that will be exporting, because they are still going to be exporting for international market.
Yes.
Why the one for Dangote? I think it's about 650. But he said in another paper has it that he's going to be buying crude also from other countries.
Yeah,
3 other African
countries.
It's
a private investor.
Yes.
Yeah. NNPC for one will also be supplying Dangote. It's also possible to also be buying from other interested parties. You understand me? Because if you check what this means for the economy, if you in 2021,
that's what I was going to ask you. What does it mean?
Yeah.
That was my other
Look at how much country spent importing fuel in 2021. That's $14 billion. That is what this refinery is serving us now.
So we save country $9 billion annually.
$9 billion annually. That is, if you check, by the time it commences full operation. What I just giving you just like a comprehensive, but then the truth is that this is the kind of money it is going to save the economy. And then, of course, you also look at the current account. It will also, there'll be a modest, improvement on the country's current account. This is also possible because you remember it's going to save the cost of transportation. Monies are going to also start coming back to government. So this way, it is really a win-win for everybody. Yes.
Now, I also want to ask you, and we talk about Dangote refinery and what it means for the country. What happens to Nigeria's epileptic refineries or commando refineries?
Well, I think it's on government, the incoming regime, to consider the option of either fully privatizing it.
Yes.
Or then actually sell it on.
But will labor allow it?
That's another question. But what is the point in spending money on
Dangote and still be paying workers there who are not refining any trouble?
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. So I think what is going to happen is that with Dangote now coming fully on stream in 2024 and DU also coming on stream in 2024, government will be forced to also revisit this moribund refinery.
Yes, it has to.
Yeah, see how they can also bring it back to life. Because with the local refinery, a lot of issues will be solved.
But we already have a situation. I think privatizing it is the best way to go, because you have a stake now. The local government has 20% stake?
20% stake
in Dangote refinery.
Yes.
And at the same time, we cannot afford to have a leaking conduit, so to speak. You have refineries that are moribund, and you are paying so much for the staff that are not working there. So all it needs to do to also recoup his money is also to privatize, don't you think so?
Yeah, it should be privatization. That's the way to go. That is if the government means business.
Yes.
Because we've seen in the previous regimes, they were just playing. It was just a mere conduit.
For 8 years.
For 8 years, it was just a mere conduit. Today they say they are turnaround maintenance for DANGOTE Refinery. Tomorrow you hear another one. So, but if they mean business this time around, the best thing is to privatize it. Do you understand me? Just privatize it. Let people who understood the business run the business. You know, let it no longer be a government affair, because so long as it has been, you know,
it has been moribund for years.
Yes.
We didn't even see it function during these 8 years of
it will never function. What they do is that
they refine crude.
they keep, they just retain staff there that they are paying for doing nothing. Bogus amount of money for doing nothing, obviously. And of course, if you check very well, those are other relatives, relations, cousins, aunties, and all those kind of people, and the hangers on. They just political.
And we also had a situation whereby our crude was also blatantly stolen by individuals.
Yeah.
The government has not done anything about it.
They will not do, because
the recent report said that our quota has also dropped. Since April till now, it has dropped. We are not even up to 1 million reduction.
Yeah, government is not doing anything, because government has been part and parcel of the bunkering that was going on in that region. You remember there was a time I was sharing with us here where I told you, I said, if you can imagine the ship that will bet to carry this oil, is bigger than NNPC.
Yes.
As an NNPC, as a structure, the ship is bigger than NNPC. KK runs faster than the ship. And this is something that will be there for 7 days while they are busy siphoning the oil.
And
So,
it will still move.
And it will still move.
And Nigerian Navy has not been able to
So
trace it.
yes.
So any ship can just operate on our water.
Yeah, so that's why you see, why I told you that, you see, if this government means business, it can correct a lot of anomalies in the system. These things don't happen in the dark. Even in the dark, a ship as bigger than an NPC towers, you should be able to sight it. It is not moving at a very jet speed. It's just a very slow speed.
And the experts also said that if the federal government were also serious, they could also have been able to trace this ship down to where it's selling, because it's also going to sell illegally to countries or to individuals.
It's a racket. It's a
So
racket.
why are they not tracing it? They can actually make reports.
They can make reports. You know, Tompolo, who was giving the contract to police that water,
They can make
and
reports to
protect the
Interpol
facilities.
and all those stuff.
You remember Tompolo, who was giving the contract to protect the oil facilities in
Yes.
that region? He first came up with that revelation.
And nothing was done about it.
Nothing, no, because governments are part of it. Top officials of all these oil corporations, they are all part and parcel of it. Government. So how can you stop it? They are making money, so the ship will simply bet there. They just connect the pipe and busy siphoning oil. They can be siphoning oil for the next 14 days. It's just there. Meanwhile, Navy is there. Patrols the waters. All manner of security agencies, they are there. All of them, they are there. The thing is just that they settle them. So the moment they are settled, they just turn a blind eye. When they are done, quietly they move. This ship will move as slowly until it gets to Netherlands.
And even local, we have security agencies that
they move it to Netherlands.
They always come back so happy.
Yes.
I think they occur to you that when they are posted there, they go to churches and even months for
yes. Like
opportunity has
it is like settling them for life.
And let's go on a short break. We have so much to discuss on this Dangote refinery. Before we come back, I'm going to be asking, talking still on Dangote refinery, how the federal government can actually regulate them when BOA comes on street next year, so I will not have a cartel operating in Nigeria's first sector. Don't go away, just stay tuned to us.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6 6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back to Money Radio. It's Monday, May 22nd to 2023. This is a program where we discuss and review business and stories on national economy, the business paper weekly. And we've been talking about Dangote Refinery as Nigeria's local refining comes alive again. With me in the studio has been the editor of National Economy, Kingsley Ali. Thank you so much once
Thank
again.
you.
Now, before we talk much on the leading stories, I want us to go into the national economy and see what other stories we have inside pages. And move over to page 3 of the paper. We have Nigeria's debt crisis, a call for prudent measures. Nigeria's debt crisis, a call for prudent measures. That's the editorial today, Monday 22nd, Sunday 28th, May 23. And of course, we also move into the page 5 of the paper. We have pension fund assets in federal government of Nigeria securities rises to 10.9 trillion naira. Pension fund assets in FGN securities rises to 10.19 trillion naira. We also have a story underneath that telcos to disconnect banks over 120 billion naira USSD debt. History, what is the outcome fall out of that story because it goes to our street?
Yes, they are still discussing, but it will, at the end of, I think, at the end of the day, they will come to they will come to a certain level of agreement, But what they are simply saying is that, when you want to do your transaction, you are given a code, credits, those kind of things. It is the banks making use of those services, and what the telcos are simply telling the banks that you have to pay. So I think they will settle by the end of this week. Yeah.
All right. So move over to page 7 of the national economy, where we have importance of HR in sustaining enduring workplace. Importance of human relations in sustaining enduring workplace. You have to log on to national economy website to read more on how to employ or deploy HR in workspaces. From that page 7, we move over to page 8. It's actually a commentary. It says the informal economy in Nigeria, why it is too relevant to be ignored. The informal economy in Nigeria, why it is too relevant to be ignored. From page 8, page 9 says how Nigeria's economy can grow in double digits. How Nigeria's economy can grow in double digits. And the quote there says the success of the cashless policy could lead to a doubling and tripling of government revenue, putting Nigeria under less pressure to borrow for the current expenditure. That is how Nigeria's economy can grow in double digits. Is all angles considered by Dr. Fashua, PhD. From page 9, we move over to page 10 of the paper. Why have the clouds not rolled away yet? Why have the clouds not rolled away yet? It's Razak Olaigbe. I'm curious to find out why the clouds have not rolled away yet. You also have to log on to the website to read more on that. From that, we move over to page 12 of national economy, Nigerian economy. How corruption affects Nigeria. How corruption affects Nigeria. You have how do you call it, motive of so many corruption, prison gain, agreement, mafia, crime, crookedness, remuneration, economic cash fraud, repression. Oh, you just have to read. It makes for an interesting read of that, how corruption affects Nigeria. It's so much more. It hinders development and all what other sectors of the economy. And underneath it, we have fiscal policy, how entrepreneurship can reduce unemployment in Nigeria. How entrepreneurship can reduce unemployment in Nigeria. From that page 12, we move over to page 15, and that is understanding the tax system. Understanding the tax system. Many people are ignorant of how the tax system works in Nigeria. From that, we move over to page 17. Methanol fuel technology, a new boost to economic development. Methanol fuel technology, a new boost to economic development. You just read the story on page 17 of National Nigeria Economy. On page 18, we have an opinion piece, Buhari's huge party debt profile. Opinion page 18, Buhari's huge party debt profile. In terms of the management of our economy, we have missed our way. We are back to recession again. That is what the quote says about the opinion on Buhari's huge party debt profile. Kingsley is about 77 trillion naira.
Of course.
Opinion.
Yeah, it is.
It's something that has left me negative. Although many still prefer that debt profile is not federal government alone, that states are also contributing to that. That many of the states also is the aggregate, some total aggregate of all the states and local government that make up the 77 trillion.
Where is the government of President Muhammad Buhari? It's the government.
So from that opinion, Buhari's huge party debt profile, we move over to the back page. We move over to the back page of the paper, place of innovation in leadership. Place of innovation in leadership. We just talked about innovation, and that reminds me, there are outgoing president was not so technology savvy. He also said so.
Yes.
Could it be so?
No, actually, the thing is that you mustn't know everything.
Yes.
You know, remember Henry Ford? Henry Ford, he wasn't like he was all that wizard in automobile, mechanics and all that. But he was able to,
Ford Motors.
Ford Motors was able to surround himself with people, the experts.
The president.
He was able to surround himself with people who are very, very good in what they do. So that way, that's how Ford Motors grew. The issue is that even if you are not so adept in a particular thing, there's no law that says that you cannot get people who can do it. The problem we've had with this regime is that we've had some people who really shouldn't be there in the first place, and so they ran the economy aground.
Grand square in
pegged in a square hole. So they ran the economy aground. That is the situation we find ourselves.
So now we are back to Dangote's refinery, which has been everywhere in the airwaves and in the media space in Nigeria, because it's something to cheer about. Many people feel that this Dangote refinery is actually a game changer in Nigeria's oil industry. Now, when Boa oil refinery also come on stream next year, what do you expect? What role do you expect the federal government to play?
Yeah, apart from that, even with the coming on board of Boa next year, and the
federal government will also buy shares in it.
Hopefully, but one thing that is very key now is that the country has moved from petrol dependent, import dependent economy to now
self-sustaining.
Yes, and the exporter of refined products.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So no longer now do you say, oh, we are petrol dependent country, Now we're importing, like we've been importing and making
but
other.
We are still going to be importing anyway. But within, because you just pointed out that we started in like a free trade zone. So at the end of the day, it still boils down to import everything.
No, the thing is that the essence is that
importing within.
No, the issue is that if you have 650,000 barrels per day, it's no joke.
It's no joke. It's not.
It's no joke. You're almost close to 1 million barrels. So combined with Goa is close to 300 or 400 and something.
Okay, that means his zone is not so large.
No, it's Dangote is a bit bigger than Goa. But when you combine the capacity of the two, you should be able to service local requirements. and even excess to export outside.
It's quite.
Yeah, and this is also not forgetting that you have modular refineries, which we expect the incoming regime to focus direct energy. Let us have more modular refineries because we're looking at, okay, how do we bring down the price to avoid these two forming a cartel? Do you understand?
Yes,
To avoid them.
what I said.
Yes. So you need to also encourage these modular refineries to come on board. Because the moment you have these modular refineries producing at their own capacity, coupled with this BU and Dangote, then of course, I don't think we will have any cause again to worry about fuel. You go to some countries.
But we have a situation because it's something that I've always made mention when it comes to this fuel stuff.
Yes.
We have the modular refinery that was established in Edo State, for instance, but
Yeah.
strangely enough, it still cannot cater to the domestic use of the state.
You know, eventually, what I will eventually find is level. Eventually, what I will find is level. What is happening at the moment is that because it's skeletal, some powerful groups will simply hijack the supplies. That's what is happening. Some corrupt, selfish groups, individuals, usually within the government, they will simply hijack the entire process. So when the supply comes, they hijack it, corner it,
And
divert it to maybe to Niger Republic,
or Benin Republic.
or Benin Republic.
Is just close by.
Yes, where they are selling them at the black market rate and making a kill.
Yeah.
So these modular refineries, they find it more convenient, actually, to say to these people, it's a bulk sale. So this is a bulk purchase from these criminals, these bad eggs. So they pay them in block and carry everything. But eventually, when you have more of these modular refineries here and there, and with these two refineries also anticipating to come up next year fully, then you notice that eventually all these things will start whittling down. At some point again, it will die a natural death. There will be no incentive again to say to those people.
Yes, because those ones are also going to be buying at par with Nigerian prices.
Yes, there will be no incentive
Yes,
again.
there will be no incentive and no
Yes,
black market.
no
there.
black market there, but now it is skeletal. So it is within this context, it is expected that you must always have people that want to change others. Even when you go to filling stations where it's an open space, you will see notice there is an individual that will come, apart from fueling their car, they still have more than 10 jerrycans they want to fuel.
They want to fill.
Do you understand? It is natural with human beings.
Yes.
Some people are very selfish, they are very greedy, and they like to change others. So eventually, what I will find is level. Some of these things will die natural death.
And thank you. Just before we go, because time is almost going out against us. Don't you think that with this Dangote refinery, because we talked about PIA, there will not be a little bit of transparency? Because before now, we still don't know our daily consumption in Nigeria.
It is clear.
So with this Dangote, don't you think?
No, it will be. It's this a private business? It's not
and
government.
You know how much we are buying from
Thank you.
Dangote.
No, it is very clear.
Or they may inflate the record.
No, they can't inflate anything.
Because Dangote from his own end will say no.
No, this is why it will totally eliminate corruption in the system. Totally, it will eliminate it. Because now you're not going to tell Dangote we are supplying this, say this. No, he will not do that. The records will be there. When you are supplying, of course, you're not even going to meet Dangote at the gate. He has his managers there to take the inventories and everything. So it is not just going to be business as usual again. Gradually, you will notice that people will start getting used to, dealing with these people, and subsidy will eventually die a natural death.
Thank you so much for your thoughts and views today on this program on your radio. Please I look forward to seeing you or having you in the studio same time.
Thank you.
Yes, well, viewers, this is where we end today's morning radio. For more stories, you just log on to www.nationaleconomy.com for more on the stories, both outside and inside stories. My name is Winnie Fuadibebo. Until we come your way again, same time next week. Wishing you a beautiful week. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have